Someone just found out who you really are, and they are. My dear child, if you believe in angels, start this video and watch it completely. Angel says someone just found out who you really are. And they're in shock. They're not just surprised. They're shaken because everything they thought they knew about you was wrong. They didn't see you clearly. They didn't realize who you truly are. And now that the truth is finally being revealed, they don't know how to handle it. But I do, because I made you. And this moment was always part of the plan. What they just saw, what just stunned them, your presence, your body, your light, your divine assignment, wasn't an accident. It was a divine unveiling. They saw your body for what it truly is, not just flesh and bones, but a vessel of glory. A container of divine purpose, a spiritual temple handcrafted by me. I placed my light inside you. I placed authority inside your walk, inside your voice, inside your eyes. When you enter a room, spirits shift. When you speak, things break. When you're silent, I still move through you. They didn't know this. They didn't want to believe this. But now they've seen it. Now they can't unsee it. And now you must understand the weight of who you are, because there is no going back. You are more than what they thought. More than what they assumed, more than the labels they tried to force on you. You were never meant to fit in. You were meant to stand out, not for ego, not for pride, but because heaven designed you that way. And now the veil has been lifted. Someone. Yes. Someone very close. Just saw your anointing for the first time. Not the mask you wear to survive. Not the humility you carry to keep peace. They saw the fire in your eyes, the power in your form, the energy that surrounds you when you're unaware. They saw your body move, and something in them froze, because they realized this is not an ordinary person. This is someone chosen. This is someone with spiritual rank. This is someone protected by God. They saw your body not through lust but through revelation. They didn't see skin. They saw armor. They didn't see weakness. They saw divine design. And now they're afraid. Not of you, but of what your presence exposes in them. Because when light walks in, shadows scatter. When truth enters, lies can't hide. They've been talking about you, judging you, misunderstanding you, but now they know. Now they've seen the truth. And you can no longer pretend you're small, because they saw how big your spirit truly is. I'm speaking now because you need to know what's happening in the spiritual realm. There has been a great reveal. Heaven has pulled back the curtain. Someone who laughed at you, doubted you, ignored you. They just had a moment of awakening. It wasn't you who revealed it. It was me. I allowed their spiritual eyes to be opened. I allowed them to catch a glimpse of your purpose. And now everything has shifted. That is why your atmosphere feels different. That's why certain people have gone silent. That's why others suddenly want to draw near. Because your true identity is no longer hidden. And heaven is about to show everyone why I marked you. You've walked through fire. You've carried burdens in silence. You've survived things no one saw. But your body still stood. Your face still shone. Your steps never wavered. And now the one who watched from a distance is suddenly overwhelmed by what they see in you. They thought they were better. They thought you were weak. But now they realize your body carries something sacred. It holds stories of survival. It reflects glory. It radiates power, and they don't know how to process it. They saw you and felt conviction. Not because you tried to prove anything, but because your being proves everything. I made your body resilient for a reason. I gave you beauty that doesn't fade, grace that doesn't crumble, and strength that doesn't bend under pressure. Your body has been through spiritual war and still houses divine light. That's why demons flee when you enter a room. That's why confusion stirs when you speak peace. Your very existence confronts the darkness in others. That's why people have tried to belittle you. That's why they tried to shame you, distract you, tempt you, degrade you because they saw glimpses of your light, long before you did. But now the full picture is visible, and they're stunned. Someone who once dismissed you has just been silenced by your presence. They saw your body not with lust, but with fear and awe. Not because you're a trophy, but because you are a testimony. They realize that touching you would mean touching a temple. That harming you would mean going to war with heaven. That manipulating you would have spiritual consequences. This is no longer a game. God says, I have declared who you are, and now they know. Now the world must adjust. The reason you felt so uncomfortable lately is because your spirit has grown beyond your surroundings. You've outgrown the places that used to fit you. Your body still walks among people who don't understand your calling. But that's about to change. The exposure of your true identity is triggering your next level. Some will walk away. Let them. Some will return. Test them. Some will fall in love with what you carry. Protect yourself because not all admiration is safe. Some only admire what they can't control. And you were never meant to be controlled. You were meant to be unleashed. You've been walking around as if you're ordinary. But you're not. The angels that follow you are not assigned to common people. The battles you survived were not meant for weak souls. The calling you carry is not light. You have been trusted with something eternal. That's why you felt isolated. That's why you felt misunderstood. Because your journey was divine and not everyone had clearance to see it. But now the clearance has been granted. The person who doubted is now witnessing. The person who gossiped is now repenting. The person who ignored is now praying to reconnect. Your name is being spoken in places you haven't entered yet. Your image is being remembered in people's hearts in ways you don't even realize. Your body. Your presence left an imprint on their soul. And that's not by accident. You're not just a person. You're a sign. A sign that God is real. A sign that purpose can wear flesh. A sign that favor has a face. That's why they can't stop thinking about you. That's why they're seeing you in dreams. That's why your silence speaks louder than their noise, because you carry God's imprint in a human form. And now that they've seen it, they can't deny it. You will notice strange reactions from people. Some will be drawn to you without explanation. Others will avoid you without cause. Don't internalize either. It's not about you. It's about what's on you. Your anointing is a mirror. It reflects light and reveals truth. It exposes hidden intentions. That's why you've been attacked for no reason. That's why jealousy came from those you tried to help. That's why some people suddenly changed toward you. Not because you did anything, but because they finally saw what was always there. You may feel overwhelmed. You may even feel afraid, but don't shrink. Don't dim your light. Don't second guess what heaven has already confirmed. This is not the time to retreat. This is the time to rise. Because now that they've seen it, you must walk in it. Now that they've been shown, you must be bold. You can't go back. You can't be silent. You can't deny what's been revealed. The world needs what you carry. They may be shocked. But heaven is rejoicing, because the truth always wins. They saw your body and realized it was sacred. They saw your walk and realized it was ordered. They heard your voice and realized it was prophetic. They encountered your presence and realized it was God-appointed. That's why the atmosphere shifted. That's why conversations changed. That's why invitations are coming, because you've stepped into your unveiled season. No more hiding. No more delay. No more doubting. You've been exposed for a reason. Not to embarrass you, but to empower you. God says, I allowed them to see it, I allowed them to feel it, because you are about to be placed where your presence is needed most. Don't fear their reaction. Focus on your assignment. Your job is not to be understood. Your job is to obey. The world will catch up later. But I, your God, am moving now. I'm opening doors now. I'm restoring your name now. I'm sending resources now. You've been hidden long enough. Now it's time to shine. Someone just saw your true identity. They are shocked. But heaven is not. Heaven has always known. And now you do too. After 3 hours passed, everything in the spirit realm shifted. The moment that third hour ended, something invisible snapped. You may not have seen it with your eyes, but your soul felt it. It was like the heaviness that had been hanging in the background suddenly tightened. The silence became louder. The people around you didn't change their tone, but your ears began to pick up something underneath their words, something off, something false. That was the first sign that the veil had lifted. That was the beginning of exposure. If you'd like to donate or show your appreciation, you can give a super thanks up to $100. God gave you 3 hours of mercy, and now the exposure has begun. The trap that was set is now being uncovered. The woman, yes, that same woman who had been sitting close to you with smiling eyes and helpful hands, has started to show her real face. It might not be loud. It might not be dramatic. But something will feel wrong. Her energy will shift. Her eyes may avoid yours. Her interest will seem flatter. Her words may sound almost rehearsed, now. And you'll know. You'll finally know that what you were warned about was true. And you made it. Because even if you weren't sure, even if you were afraid, even if you were tempted to give her one more chance, your soul listened. You didn't walk blindly into the snare. You hesitated. You waited. And that hesitation was heaven's open door to act on your behalf. Because the trap was real, she had positioned herself carefully, just close enough to know your habits, but far enough to avoid suspicion. She spoke softly. She praised you. She acted impressed by your wisdom, but she was collecting information. She was watching the way people responded to you. She was measuring your influence and preparing a way to redirect your light toward herself. There were conversations already happening behind the scenes. And God in His mercy broke into your timeline with that warning. 3 hours left, not 4, not a week, because it was going to happen soon. And now, because you received the message, even in your heart, even in quiet prayer, heaven has intercepted the trap. Archangel Michael stood between you and disaster. You didn't see the sword. You didn't hear the shout, but it was there. There was a moment, just a breath, where your entire spiritual life could have shifted into ruin. A moment where your discernment, if not used, could have cost you months, even years. But now, instead of walking into her lie, you're watching it unravel. Instead of falling for her mask, you're seeing it crack. This isn't paranoia. This isn't fear. This is spiritual confirmation. It's not over yet, but the tables are turning. And watch what happens next. Watch how her demeanor changes. Watch how the energy around her begins to shake. She's losing grip. She's realizing the plan failed. She can feel something slipping, but she doesn't yet know how heaven exposed her. She may lash out quietly. She may pretend she's withdrawing for peace. But in reality, her access has been cut off. You will feel the shift. You'll feel freer in ways you can't even explain. That's not coincidence. That's what happens when the enemy is evicted. Now listen carefully. This is not the time to confront her in anger. This is the time to pull back with wisdom. Let heaven finish what it started. You don't need to expose her. God already has. You don't need to retaliate. Heaven is already correcting it. Your job now is to obey the next set of instructions. Because here's the truth. She wasn't working alone. That's what her role was, to gain access. But behind her is a network. Some known, some unknown, some spiritual, some physical. There are more pieces to this puzzle than you realize. And now that God has exposed one part, He will start to reveal the rest, slowly, clearly, strategically. But only if you stay aligned. This is the part where many people fall back asleep. They think, oh, good. I avoided the trap. And then they go back to old patterns. But this isn't over. The trap was just the beginning of a bigger assignment against your future. You were being targeted. Not for destruction, for delay, for confusion, for detour. That's how the enemy works. When he can't kill your destiny, he tries to exhaust it. He tries to tangle it. But God has cut the thread. You are being untangled now. Spiritually, emotionally, and relationally, the people meant to walk with you are about to start coming forward. Some will seem random, others will seem overdue, but God is rearranging the pieces. That woman, she was blocking the new, because she was falsely filling the space meant for someone divine. You may not even know what role she was stopping yet. Was she blocking your financial partner, a divine friend, a true love, a business gatekeeper? God knows. And you'll see soon enough. But now that her access has been revoked, there's room for the real. And there's more. God is showing me that this exposure has started something bigger in your bloodline. Yes, your family line has been infected by similar traps for years. Generations of people who trusted the wrong voices, followed the wrong paths, gave into emotional bondage. You were almost next. But because you stopped, because you listened, that generational pattern is now being shattered. Your choice just liberated your lineage. That's how powerful obedience is. That's how sacred one moment of spiritual alignment can be. But it's not enough to avoid the trap. You must now reset your direction. You were about to walk down a path that looked right but was misaligned. A good-looking, well-lit, seemingly safe trail that ended in emotional chaos and spiritual stagnation. God has now shifted the path. You'll feel confused at first. Things may feel quieter. People may step back, but that's okay. That's what divine redirection feels like. Still, unfamiliar but holy. Now your feet are on the right track. Now your energy is clearing. Now your spirit is recalibrating. And she, yes, the woman who thought she'd win, will start to lose power. Not because you cursed her, but because her strength came from access. And now that access is gone, you don't even need to block her. Heaven already has. Your silence will be more powerful than your argument. Your peace will be louder than your proof. Your growth will be the only confirmation you need. The blessings you prayed for will now start to flow in. Watch for unexpected calls, emails, invitations. You may see an old door swing open again, but this time it will be in your favor because the sabotage is gone. The interference is over. You made it through the 3-hour window. You obeyed. You listened. And God is honoring that. He says to you now, I'm proud of you. I saw you hesitate. I saw you wonder if it was just your imagination. I saw you want to trust anyway, but your spirit stayed sensitive. Your soul stayed open. And now I will open the heavens over your life in ways you never expected. But one more thing remains. Now that the trap has been exposed, you must forgive. Forgive yourself for not seeing it sooner. Forgive yourself for almost falling for it. Forgive her, not to excuse her, but to free yourself. The spiritual residue must be washed away. And only forgiveness can do that. You don't need to trust her again. You don't need to keep her, but you do need to release the weight. Otherwise, her energy stays lodged in your next chapter. That's not what you want. So, release her. Not because she deserves it, but because you deserve freedom. And now step forward. You have just passed one of the greatest spiritual tests of your life. You were warned. You obeyed. You escaped. And now you rise. Someone just found out who you really are. And they are in complete shock. Not because of fear, but because of the power, the beauty, and the divine presence that rests inside of you. You may not even realize it yet, but your identity in heaven is not ordinary. You carry a spiritual light that exposes hidden darkness. You carry an energy that angels recognize. There is a sacred fire within you that can no longer be hidden. And now someone has seen it. Someone has realized that there is more to you than what the world can see with its eyes. They are stunned not just by your appearance, but by the force of heaven that surrounds your life. Your body, your soul, your spirit. It all carries the fingerprint of the divine. This isn't a warning for you to fear. It's a call for you to step into your true authority. God says you have been chosen. You have been marked for divine work. There is a heavenly assignment over your life that is now being activated. Everything that has happened, all the pain, all the betrayal, all the confusion, it was leading to this moment. The moment where truth cannot stay hidden anymore. The truth of who you are. The truth of who sent you. The truth of what you carry in your spirit. Archangel Michael stands nearby with his sword drawn and his gaze fixed on every enemy that tries to sneak into your atmosphere. You are safe. You are covered. You are shielded by something no eye can see and no hand can break. Someone looked at you and realized they were not looking at a mere person. They were looking at a vessel, a carrier of something eternal, a mirror of God's creativity. You have no idea what your presence does in rooms.